Falcon County Court now in session. Chairman Jack McCall presiding. County Court remain in session. Bill adjourned by the chairman.
Steve Whitaker, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
God, I have a Father. It's with gratitude we come before your holy presence. Heavenly Father, we thank you for another day of giving. Thank you, my Father, for the grace that kept us all day long. Lord, we thank you that we live in a country where we still have the liberty to worship you in spirit and in truth. We ask you to bless this nation. We pray that you will grant us the wisdom to make good, sound, and rational decisions tonight, as we represent those that have placed their trust within us. Heavenly Father, thank you for all that you've done in all of our life. We pray for our health, we pray for our family. Heavenly Father, thank you for everything that you have done and shall continue to do. And after we've gone the last mile of the way, when you call us from labor unto reward, we ask you that you give us a home somewhere around your kingdom. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Commissioner Crook, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Crowder, would you call the roll, please?
Beverly Atwood. Present. Tommy Belcher.
Here.
Shane Burton.
Here.
Alan Carmen.
Here.
Grant Cochran. Brian Crook.
Here.
Will Dennis. Jerry Ford. Chris Gregory.
Here.
Bubba Gregory.
Here.
Landon Gully. Richard Johnson.
Here.
Judy Kerr. Here. David Nollner.
Here.
Leslie Overman. Here. Mark Presley.
Here.
Amber Russell. Here. Lonnie Taylor.
Here.
David Thomas. Steve Whitaker.
Here.
16 present, 4 absent.
Thank you. I am assuming everyone has had a chance to read the minutes. If everyone's mind is clear on that, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve by Ford, second by Taylor. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Under announcements, any announcements that we have, anyone know of anything? So we're going to approve for amendments to the agenda. At work session, we added the budget ordinances and tax levies for general and urban. We're also adding an ordinance 288-2023-25 trash services roll-off fees to be considered this evening. And then we're adding discussion of the county pool season. Do I have a motion to set the agenda with these 3 amendments? Motion by Mr. Presley, second by whom? Bonnie Taylor. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. If you wish to speak to the commission about a matter on this month's agenda, members of the general public are invited to sign up at the podium. You'll be called to address the commission at the proper time. County Mayor report. I have 2 or 3 things I wanted to share with you this evening. I have approved Mr. Beeler for another 60 days as interim fire chief. My message to the fire department was until all the rumors settle down and they stop backbiting and talking about each other, I would appoint him 60 days at a time until everything kind of fell in line. So we're going to do that 60 more days. We had a ribbon cutting for the turn lane on Friday, which is now complete, but hasn't been signed over by TDOT. Senator Hale and Representative Slater were here. We had a really good turnout, and one thing that was very gratifying was we had at least 6 members of TDOT here, which allowed us to put faces and names together. They basically told us that as soon as they sign off on that project, we can do anything up there we want to. And so we'll be in line to put a arrow coming off of Broadway. I also talked with the TDOT rep about the curbs downtown, and they are very aware that, the engineer on that, didn't really serve us well. And we have discussions now going forward to get those changed as soon as they sign off on that project. And they haven't because of a glitch involving about $70,000 that the county is owed from that project. And as soon as it's signed off on, we can adjust the curbs. The flowers downtown have been very popular. The lights downtown across Court Street were well received when we had downtown sound. For those of you who are not familiar, downtown sound was a big success. And we look forward to it growing and bringing more attention to our downtown. As far as the park and Trey Park is concerned, Commissioner Bubba Gregory will address that because we had a meeting this week on that. Any questions of the mayor? Any updates you need? Not, we'll move right along. Committee reports, executive committee met on May 1st. Anyone who attended that meeting have anything you want to bring before the court? Finance committee met on May 15th and 6 nights with the budget hearings. And since our chairman's not here, Commissioner Gregory, would you like to make a comment?
I think Landon went over everything in work session. Yesterday night, meetings we've been 2 or 3 hours. I think the mayor and I presented us a good budget. I think the department heads and elected officials. I think that committee asked tough questions. I think some stuff was cut. It needs to be cut maybe. And it was, I mean, I think the budget we've come down with is something we should maybe look at passing.
Okay.
But I mean, I got minutes from each meeting. If you haven't got any questions, if I got any questions, I mean, I got the minutes from every all the meetings we had.
Thank you, Mr. Gregory. Would you, you're up again on Public Works. Would you like to bring them up to speed on where we are with with Trey Park?
First thing on Public Works, the two of the amendments to the agenda tonight is come out of Public Works. Public Works Committee is recommending these. The ordinance for the trash roll-off fees and the discussion of the county pool. Reason we didn't make a decision as to recommend or not, we didn't have enough lifeguards to cover everything, and they were supposed to went to take the test this weekend, and I think the 5 that went did pass. So we need to make a decision tonight as a commission, whether we need to open the pool tonight. And Cliff's here to tell us, give us an update. And I think we do have enough lifeguards and all to open the pool, but he's here. And he'll talk to us, and I mean, ask any questions, answer any questions on that, but we do need to decide tonight if we can open the pool or not. That was the 2 that deals on the agenda from the Public Works. First thing we did at our Public Works meeting, Maggie McBriar with Cunningham Recreation presented 3 color schemes for the new playground equipment and flooring. Game time playground equipment will provide the new equipment. It was 3 different options to look at. And the number 2 option is what the committee recommended is that we do. And I think it had brown, there's some green, and the slides was orange. We had one member that didn't like the orange because of UT, but it still got, we recommended the orange one for the committee.
What?
Determine the new playground about this time next year is when I think it's supposed to be complete. And there was some questions asked about the fence around the playground now that's got the names on it. As you probably talked about building a wall to keep them names, some kind of deal with a wall with all the names where they'll be kept, not stored somewhere. We got discussion on the pool, which we'll get, Cliff will give us an update on that here when we vote on whether to open the pool this year or not. And that was about it.
Thank you, Commissioner Gregory. Any other reports this time from any committees? If not, we'll acknowledge the fact that the debt service policy is in each of your hands. the distribution of this policy to be recorded in the official minutes, and there's no further action needed except to call to your attention that you have it in your packet. Under ordinances, we have public hearing and second reading on a number of ordinances. I now open the floor for the public hearing for the following ordinances. If you wish to speak to any of these, please come to the podium when the ordinance title is filled. Under the first ordinance, ordinance 284-2023-21, annexation to urban service district tax map 016 parcel 016.15. Anyone want to speak to that? Moving on. Number 2, ordinance 285-2023-22, rezoning from R1 to R3 on Dalton Hollow, tax map 019F, Group A, parcel 027.01. Anyone wish to speak to that? Keep in mind, this is second reading. Number 3, ordinance 286. 2023-23, rezoning R1 to R3 on Halltown, tax map 019F, Group A, parcel 025.00. Anyone here to speak to that? Under number 4, ordinance 287, 2023-24, rezoning A1 to R3 Dalton Hollow, tax map 016, parcel 016.15. Anyone here to speak for that?
Well, we have a chance to ask a question later on.
When we vote on each, we will, yes. Number 5, ordinance 289, 2023-26, amendment to personnel policy on the holiday of Juneteenth. I will entertain a motion to close public hearing for these ordinances.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Atwood, second by Chris Griggs. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. We will now go through each ordinance for their second reading.
Chair,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion to approve all of them at one time, or vote on them at all at one time.
I'll second the motion.
we have a motion to approve all at once with a second. Anyone like to speak to that?
Who made the second?
Atwood. If not, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. The motion carried. Now, under item 11, active business continued. We have first reading on 2 ordinances. Ordinance 288, 2023-25, trash services roll-off fees. Anyone like to speak to that? Okay.
I'll second it.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Motion by Commissioner Gregory, second by Commissioner Burton. Any discussion?
Just a reminder about, of course, we had this before us last month and it was sent back to Public Works, so there was some question about whether it applied to, one question was whether it applied to just a house tear down or to anybody who rents one. So we cleaned it up a little bit in Public Works. I think took care of any of the confusion that was on it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. First reading of item 7, ordinance 290, 2023-27, rezoning A1 to R1 on tax map 016 parcel 0617. Anyone here to speak to that? Rosalie, would you like? Or Mrs. Ryan? Would like to speak to that?
Good evening. We talked about this in the work session. This is our very first rezoning since the new fee schedule has been in place. And you have in your packet a picture, or we passed out a picture of the new rezoning signs, which are very, very visible from the road, so that anybody that has any question about a property being rezoned, it's definitely going to be seen. So the reason, well, let's go through, it's A1 And we would like to have R1 zoning, and the reason for that is that we'd like to use different setbacks. He has a 2-acre parcel of land here on Penfield Road, and his house is right at the setbacks for A1, so he would like to do an addition. He's not able to do that because he will not be able to do setbacks. With the R1 zoning, as we have seen before, we have a lot of different parcels now on Temple Road that are zoned R1. So this would fall in line with the other R1 properties there on Temple, and he would be able to use those setbacks in order to do the addition that he would like to do. What questions do you have?
Any questions?
It was recommended.
Sir,
Make a motion to approve it.
second to approve, second by Commissioner Crooks. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, the following ordinances concern the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Under item number 8, ordinance 291-2023-28. General services appropriations for fiscal year 2024. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Atwood, second by. We can have discussion. Any discussion? Commissioner Chris Green.
I'll just echo the statements I made during the work session that I can't support this. I said my two biggest concerns are, was the one, us taking on $1 million in debt to pay for a roof at the elementary school, which, no one questions that the school needs a roof. But the school system has $1 million it's willing to put in on capital outlay. I think they need to be doing their own roof rather than coming to us on it. My second issue is the big increase in the sheriff's department, 7 new positions and 7 squad cars. Now, granted, I know ARPA is taking care of the cars, so that's technically not off our dime, but in a year where we're projecting a $2.9 million hit, almost 60% of our fund balance gone, that to me is just too much in time. So like I said, everybody do what they want, but I can tell you, I'm gonna vote no on this.
Any other discussion? Thank you,
I
Commissioner.
do want to clear one thing up. It's only 4, 7 cars and all, 4 new positions.
Well, 4 deputies, 2 dispatchers and a warrants clerk.
Well, yeah, I was talking about on the road wise for the cars. Right. Because it gets 3 for a year anyway.
Thank you, Commissioner Cook. Any further?
I would like to make a note that the school system, that is one of our county buildings. We do have to take care of that. Second of all, the sheriff's department is a service to our community. They are the ones that protect us and or come to us at any they can call, no matter what the issue is. Just don't say.
Thank you, Commissioner Atwood. Commissioner Grigor.
And one reason I think the sheriff department is asking for more help, he's wanting to help. He's got, right now, he's got like a 3 shift at night. He's got like a sergeant, then one that works in the, like the urban service city area, one works the county. That's like Mr. Crooks said, if he's on 231 and he gets to call a Cato, that's gonna take him 15 minutes to get there. Maybe the sergeant might be closer or whatever, but he may be down there with him on 231. Then when he hires a new deputy, he's gonna have 4 shift, and that way all the zones should be covered. I went down on 231 myself and just rode around all the new residences and businesses down there. You need one officer just down in that area. I had a few questions on the sheriff's budget, like the warrants clerk. I didn't know if it was really needed, but he said that state auditors said it needs to be done. They did 1 person anymore, so I had questions about that. But and then another thing, a lot of patrol cars and equipment, solid waste, and the fire brush truck is coming out of ARPA. It's a good thing we had ARPA this time, but it has knocked it on the funds on down. But next year, I don't think we're gonna be hit as hard. I mean, Cliff's getting a new backhoe, and a pickup truck and a roll-off truck. I mean, he's been needing this for years. And it's just now, I mean, luckily we had the money in ARPA that we could do that for him this time. And then, you know, the 2.5% raise for the employees, I think that's needed. I think we can do it every year from now on. I don't know, probably not. But I think we can this year. And he wants to talk about the fund balance. I think this time next year, come and look, and I bet our fund balance will be like it is now, or it won't be much lower. That's just, I mean, that's just what am I thinking, you know, because our projections is 92% on revenue coming in and expenses of, you know. And that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep, the other, Mr. Gregory, it is correct, typically our ending fund balance is never as bad as it looks on paper. And, we have every reason to think that's probably the case this year, but it seems like we count on that just about every year. One of these years, it's gonna come back and bite us, is my concern. I just feel like it's too much at a time that I can do it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Atwood.
This is why we need the wheel tax back in to help out with some of this. This is why we need to increase our sales tax some extent. That way it hits every person in this county, not just property owners. I'm sorry if I get emotional with this, but I'm just speaking from my heart and how I see what's best fit for the county. The ones on budget and finance work long, continuous hours and lots of study. And I'm sure that there are others that have researched, and I appreciate that. But just take that into consideration too. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Atwood. Any further discussion? If not, we'll have roll call.
Which one do they read this conflict on? On everything or just the?
We don't have to read those anymore, do we?
Better to cover bases.
Yeah.
If you're a
Sure.
county employee, it's better.
Judge, I thought we got rid of those a couple of years ago. I mean, I'll read it, doesn't matter to me.
Sitting the tax levy.
Their salaries are included in the.
This is over the whole. This is because the overall. Without extension.
If you decide you want to vote on it.
Yeah. They don't have to- But it's just even reading the conflict.
Okay.
Is this
Right, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
You got everything. Yeah, before you vote yes or no, you're having to play that you have conflict.
Maybe. We're working on that.
I don't know if I got conflict. You're paid.
As electors, this spot, though. You can make your amount.
Yeah, but you're paid.
Based on, but you can still vote on. it. Okay.
You can still vote.
You
You
can
can
still
still
vote.
vote.
You can vote on it, okay? But you can vote on this, okay? But just make it clear that you're voting.
I'll read it. It'll be easier to read it.
Well,
Mr. Crowder, are you ready?
I think.
Attention, please.
Beverly Atwood,
Yes.
Tommy Belcher, Shane Burton,
Because my wife and I are employees of Hartsville, Trousdale County, I have a conflict of interest concerning the budget ordinances being voted on tonight's meeting. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and to my obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. Yes.
Alan Carmen,
Yes.
Grant's absent, Brian Crooks,
Because I am an employee of the Hartsville Trousdale County, I have a conflict of interest concerning the budget ordinances being voted on during tonight's meeting. However, I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and to my obligation to my constituents and the citizens this body represents. No.
Will is absent, Jerry Ford,
No.
Chris Gregory,
No.
Bubba Gregory,
Yes.
Landon Gully's absent, Richard Johnson,
Yes.
Judy Kerr,
Yes.
David Nollner,
Yes.
Leslie Overman,
No.
Mark Presley,
because my wife is an employee of the Hartsville County have a conflict of interest concerning the budget ordinance being voted on tonight's meeting. However, I declared that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and my obligation to my consistency of the citizens that this body represents. Yes.
Amber Russell,
No.
Lonnie Taylor.
No.
David Thomas is absent. Steve Whitaker,
Because having an employee of Hartsville Travis County, I have a conflict of interest concerning the budget ordinance being voted on during tonight's meeting. I declare that my argument and my vote answer only to my conscience and to my obligation to my constituents and to the citizens this body represents. No.
eight yes, 8 no, and 4 absent.
Fails because of failure to get 11 votes. I think it's important to address the court at this point that you need to give a clear directive to the Budget and Finance Committee as to what you expect them to do at this point, or what issues what directive or what issues you need to arm them with to go back and bring you a budget that's acceptable to this body. I think it's appropriate we have that discussion at this time.
Loans. If you got the money, no need but borrowing money. It's like adding your small family all the way up to government. The loan for the roof. It has to be a better way. That's what was presented to me. Now, if that's changed,
Further discussion.
Mr. Victor, give his, the school roof and the search department, but is anybody else got any, I mean, y'all was voting on, why y'all voting on?
Those are my exact reasons as well.
I mean, y'all need to speak up, I mean,
That's exactly it.
So that's everyone's exact reasons is what I'm asking. I think that's what Mr. Gregory's asking. Is that, do y'all agree? Is that your reasoning?
My only thing, the other thing was that if we're, in a year where we if we could trim. My thoughts, people, a lot of times they're requesting, their budget, sometimes over. So I feel like we trim.
I mean, we said that we just made it 2 or 3 hours a night, and we trimmed and all, I mean,
And I'm thankful for the 2 county commissioners that did show up to every one of these meetings, just like,
Let me speak from the chair by saying that what we can't do is go line by line on this budget and talk about what we don't like or some minor things. It's the major issues that need to go back to this budget committee. So are those the 2?
and a 10-year loan is a major 5-year loan, wherever it is. Biggest issue I heard was, I didn't know, did they ever set the interest rate?
yeah, we'll discuss that in here in the work session.
It was 4.1.
You gotta give it.
$1,500 appreciation pay, that's unheard of on that kind of money.
It was 4.1 locked for 10 years, which was an extraordinary rate.
Okay, well, if I've got money in the bank to go buy a vehicle, but I choose to take out a loan, that's irresponsible on my part.
No, I
It's
don't
the
know.
same
That's how you make money, man.
No,
That's, yes, it is.
you don't go in debt to make money when you got money.
Yes, you do.
And let me point out here to the court that I understand that Dr. Satterfield is wanting to protect his fund balance. But at the same time, the county wants to protect its fund balance. So it's almost a trade-off. I understand both positions. But it's up to this court to decide going forward. It is up to this court to decide going forward.
They also get a better interest rate if they do it that way with the county.
If they do them together. And let me point out that Commissioner Dennis pointed out to us that if we took that money initially and placed it in a money market account at 2% or 2.5%, for the initial 3-year period, we'd be only paying 2% or 2.5% on the loan. That was for your information. Yes, sir.
Question, when this does go back to, finance committee, can we also direct that commissioners not on that committee to be allowed to, Mr. Gully was gracious about allowing, you know, those of us who attended, who weren't on the committee to ask questions. And I know he didn't have to, so I guess can we instruct that the others attending would be allowed to ask questions or give input?
Well, actually, the situation in its entirety is that every commissioner is welcome to all those meetings. And it would probably be best if all commissioners attended to see exactly what the discussion was as far as these decisions. Many hard decisions were made based on as much fact as possible. So I think it's you can be recognized from the chair to offer your opinion. Certainly that would be welcome, I think.
Thank you.
So basically, is it understood that what's going back to this committee is to look at the two issues, the loan for the roof on the elementary school and the sheriff's budget? Is that what we're saying here?
I've got to know more about this sheriff's budget. I don't understand what's going on with the sheriff's budget.
Okay.
The sheriff does not come to this county court and ask for anything that he does not need. Y'all. That's it. That's all I can say. That man does not stand up here and order tanks. He doesn't order airplanes. Hell, he gives y'all money back every year. I don't understand what everybody has a problem with putting officers on the street, protecting your property, going looking for your kids when they're gone for an hour and you can't find them, or somebody nicks their leg while they're shaving. I don't understand the sheriff's part of it.
Let me ask this question. Is that an issue, or is the only issue the roof and the loan for the roof?
You asked me.
Any of it, you know,
I mean,
what kind of mandate do you want to send back to this committee is my
I
question.
have no issues with anything other than just a little bit of thought into that roof. And now that I know what Bill Dennis's position was, what he's come up with, and I'm actually sorry that I voted the way that I did. 2% is fantastic.
It is fantastic. Yes, sir.
It's fun to work sessions.
Yeah, I just didn't.
I know the sheriff is getting, I believe it's 225,000 from the state to fund SROs that we currently fund. You know, so that frees up, or in theory, should free up that amount of money in his budget. If he wants to take that 225 and hire 4 or 5, you know, whatever he could hire with that without any more on our part, I have no objection to that at all. It's just the whole additions, 7 new positions, I think, in the year where we're struggling, I just have a hard time with. And, you know, with regards to the warrants clerk, you know, the sheriff told us he had 8 different employees at the jail handling that. Can he not designate one and say, this is your task now, instead of having 8 different people do it?
Not for them to do the job they also have to do.
Well, I worked there. And yes,
Yes, they did what?
well, you answer the phone, you someone calls, you have a warrant, you walk over there and you end up with computers.
How many warrants were you doing when you worked there, ma'am? We do a lot of warrants. A lot of warrants and a lot of subpoenas.
I think there's a lot more paperwork than what people understand when it comes to doing those duties.
Commissioner Whitaker.
Mayor, I've just had one problem, and it's not with the sheriff's department. And it's the same problem that, issues that I've had reservation about for years. I think the elephant in the room is the school system and not using much more of their fund. It seemed like every year we ask for more and more and more and more. And when we less of their resources, they say that. You know, to me, that. Well, now they do that problem.
Let me ask this question, Commissioner, do you want to send, and now that you've not approved this budget, do you want to send it back to committee, or do you want to send all 4 of these ordinances back to committee, the other 3? For discussion? Yes, sir.
I said it in the budget committee, I will say it again now. County forked out over $500,000 to each member of our county employee. And they've raised this 2 years in a row. We're looking at $376,000 again this year to do it. I've been on the court a long time. We've never given raises 3 years in a row. Plus the COVID check you come in there with. Never have we done that.
Is that an issue with the rest of you commissioners? At this point,
That was probably my number 3 issue. It was not, especially originally. That was my number 3 issue, but that was less of a concern than the first 2. But is that a concern for me? Yes.
How do you anticipate to retain people doing their duties and their jobs if they do not get a cost of living raise, which is strictly what they were all granted? Considering the prices and increases of grocery bills and everything else that's going on.
Those are the people that run this county. Those people run this county, the people that pick up the garbage, the people that work for the sheriff's department, the people that work for Cliff. If those people did not work in this county, y'all would be screwed. I don't see Jerry Ford. I wouldn't see you. I wouldn't see any of y'all out there picking up garbage. I wouldn't see anybody do it.
I've done it
When?
a few years back.
A few years
My
back.
factory Done it for 6 months on the
Nah.
side of the road. Before you even.
I don't believe it. I don't.
I hear a motion to send all 3 ordinances back to the Budget Finance Committee. This is kind of getting out of hand.
I make a motion to send it all back.
Motion to send it all back. I hear a second. Your second?
Say,
Second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Do I have to have a roll call? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed?
no,
No, you didn't.
Let's do that.
Leslie did the motion. Who did the second?
Chris Gregory.
Roll call. Discussion.
this is sending,
Roll call. and then we'll discuss.
this is sending the budget and the tax levies back to budget committee.
All of it.
Okay.
All of it.
Beverly Atwood,
No,
Tommy Belcher,
Yes.
Shane Burton,
No.
Alan Carmen,
Yes.
Dick Brant's absent, Brian Crook.
No.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory.
No.
Ann's absent, Richard Johnson,
No.
Judy Kerr,
no,
David Noller,
Go.
Leslie Overman,
yes,
Mark Presley,
No.
Amber Russell,
yes,
Lonnie Taylor,
No.
David's absent, Steve Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, you voted not to send it back.
Oh, you
So
just,
we're
we're
gonna-
gonna send it all back. I get to send the schools back to us, I guess. That was the vote, send it all back. There.
Send them all
Yes.
forward.
That was a vote to send it off.
Yes, we didn't send it all back.
You wanna make a motion, you wanna make a motion to send it off?
Seven yes, 9 no.
We voted not to send it all back. Now we can make a vote to just send the school budget back to us.
We can do that.
I make a motion to send the school budget back.
Have a motion to send the school budget. Counselor, can we do that?
They're not asking for a line item, they're sending it back the whole budget of the school. Commissioner Crook's motion to send that portion of the budget back. We'll look, analyze that one through budget finance for them to make a recommendation to start. Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? All right, you've got a first and a second, correct?
Got a second?
Second.
Wait, who-
Second?
There you go.
Okay, discussion.
Can we send the 101 budget back as well, since that contains the,
that's not what's on the motion.
My motion is the school.
The motion is, it's just strictly the school budget going back. Not
Yeah,
anything else.
who seconded?
I did.
Shane.
Somebody they seconded.
Discussion.
Is this the other ordinances as well, like the tax levy?
This is just the school.
This is just,
Okay.
is the school budget. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
No,
Roll call.
Beverly Atwood,
No,
Tommy Belcher,
Yes.
Shane Burton. In school budget, plan.
No.
Alan
No, I'll
Carmen,
second it.
Brian Crook,
Yes.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory,
No.
Richard Johnson, Judy Kerr,
No.
David Nollner,
No.
Leslie Overman,
yes,
Mark Presley,
No.
Amber Russell,
yes,
Lonnie Taylor,
Yes.
Steve Whitaker.
Yes.
9 yes.
I got 8.
5, 6, 7.
Said 8.
Motion failed.
9-7.
I'm out most of it.
Did y'all get 9-7?
What is the will of this commission?
I would like to make the motion to approve the entire budget and send it to them.
And do what?
Send it on.
For the second reading, I mean, we're gonna vote it down. Don't matter.
We can have a second vote. I think I heard something that said they changed.
The problem is there's 4 people missing.
And 2 of them's on budget.
Somebody call for
recess, that's motion to recess.
Make motion to recess.
Second.
5 minutes.
I'll call the meeting back to order. Counselor, would you like to advise, please?
I don't mind, thank you, Mayor. Because it's me that asked for the recess, just to get focused a little bit, because it's obviously that there's sharp divisions in the room. I'm gonna make a recommendation to the county commission that, someone make a motion to postpone the discuss, or the 4 ordinances that are in front of you regarding the budgets and the tax levies to Thursday of next week at 6 o'clock for a work session, and at 7 o'clock, a special call meeting for the entire body of the county commission. It's obvious that we have 2 of the members that are with our budget and finance committee that are not here, that were integral parts of the formulation of this budget. And so I would recommend that if someone wanted to do that, that would be a Thursday.
Yes, we have a motion on the floor already though before we recessed. I thought Beverly moved to.
I had a motion, but there was not a second, so.
That's why I want to make sure.
Well, you didn't have time. So if you had-
But that would be my recommendation at this
I
time.
will recall my motion and make the motion that Mr. Baylor is asking for.
Motion. Second by Mr. Noller. Discussion.
What day did you
Yeah,
take?
tell me what days you're talking about.
Thursday, next Thursday,
Next Thursday, June 1st.
yes, next Thursday, June 1st at 6 o'clock for a work session like we would normally have. It will be on Thursday at 6 o'clock, and a 7 o'clock special call meeting following that work session with regard to those 4 ordinances. Okay, those are the only things as part of that special call meeting.
And that also gives us time to give proper notice for that meeting. Any other discussion? Not all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving right along to budget amendments, Fund 101 General Fund. We can take BA 21 and 22 together. BA 23 and 24 will need to be taken separately with roll call votes, as both deal with using ARPA funds. 2023 101 21 has to do with insurance recovery in the amount of $12,291. 2023 101 22 is simply a cleanup, 9,500. These 2 were discussed in work session. I hear a motion to approve them together.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Commissioner Chris Gregory. Second by Commissioner Atwood. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carried. 2023-101-23 has to do with the rescue vehicle, ARPA transfer. That was explained in detail in work session. We hear a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Commissioner Cruz, second by Mark Presley. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. I'm sorry, roll call. I'm sorry. I stand corrected.
Beverly Atwood,
Yes.
Tommy Belcher,
Yes.
Shane Burton,
Yes.
Alan Carmen,
Yes.
Brian Crook,
Yes.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory,
Yes.
Richard Johnson, Judy Kerr,
Yes.
David Nollner,
Yes.
Leslie Overman,
No.
Mark Presley,
Yes.
Amber Russell,
Yes.
Lonnie Taylor,
Yes.
Steve Whitaker.
Yes.
15 yes, 1 no.
15 yes, 1 no, motion carries. 2023-101-24 fire department brush truck. In the amount of $300,033, $174,000 of that was insurance payment. That was discussed again in detail in work session. I hear a motion to approve. Motion to approve by Mark Preston. Your second, second by Commissioner Ford. Any discussion? Roll call.
Beverly Atwood,
Yes.
Tommy Belcher,
Yes.
Shane Burton,
Yes.
Alan Carmen,
Yes.
Brian Crook,
Yes.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory,
Yes.
Richard Johnson, Judy Kerr,
Yes.
David Nollner,
Yes.
Leslie Overman,
Yes.
Mark Presley,
Yes.
Amber Russell,
Yes.
Lonnie Taylor,
Yes.
Steve Whitaker.
Yes.
16 yes, 4 absent.
Thank you, motion carries. We can take all of these. And the following forward. Under debt service fund, 2023-151-01. Jim Satterfield Middle School additional principal payment of $108,794. Under the general purpose school fund, 2023-141-08, attendance software in the amount of 5,000. 2023-141-09, employee health insurance in the amount of 4,200. 2023-141-10, textbooks, 110,000. We can do these collectively. Do I hear a motion to approve? Motion to approve by Commissioner Gregory, second by Commissioner Bubba Gregory. Discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. We have a number of notaries. Amanda K. Calvert, First National Bank, Sherry Anthony, Anthony Funeral Home, Linda Sue Bruce, Blackwell Realty and Auction. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
By Atwood, second by Overman. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under other business, the county pool season, whether to open or not, the commission's been asked by the Public Works Committee to decide if the county pool should be open for the summer season. Commissioner Gregory, please address the commission, and I understand Cliff's still here. Yeah, I said, would you like to address that?
Yes, our public works has been working on this, for the, to December, November, we didn't, let's get the word out for lifeguards. We finally got a bunch of lifeguards. We had enough put in an application, all had a few that failed. I think we've got 11 now, and then they can use some of them that didn't pass and work with concessions thing. But on behalf of, I would like to see the pool open. I think it does need to be open. But I've got Cliff here tonight to explain the pool and the lifeguard situation. Everybody got any questions, they can ask him and see if he deals with it today. So, Cliff. And the reason we didn't vote the other night, voted to bring it tonight, he just had 6 lifeguards that passed at that time. And we were scheduled to open the pool Saturday. But we couldn't, well, that be lifeguards. We had 5 that was open this weekend to get their certification, and all 5 of them passed. So we do have 11 of them. And we need to make a decision tonight if we want to open them or not, or we can get the pool open or we can close it. If y'all got any questions for Cliff, he can explain a little better than me.
We've had 5 pass the swim test. They've got to go to class all this week. There's been times we've had them not show up and finish the classes, but most of the time, once they pass the swim test, they do show up and complete the rest of it.
Can we open the pool, Cliff?
Sir,
Can we open the pool?
yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion, to open the pool.
Second,
I have a motion and a second discussion.
you mentioned a leak, is that resolved?
More than half of it. We just fixed it at the weekend. I was with it Saturday and Sunday. It looked a lot better. We topped it off Sunday at 10 o'clock and checked back with it at 10 o'clock this morning. It was probably lost. It's hard to say. It lost about an inch of water. So it's still leaking, but I feel like it's less than half of what we had.
Any other discussion? Have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cliff.
Sally. Thank you.
Yeah, we need to, we go over it in the morning. And he said he was going, he did say about the pool, season passes.
We'll wait till Saturday. A lot of the parents are off on Saturdays and we give a $10 discount on Saturdays, so we'll wait till then. Pool looks better than it's looked in 5 years. We're really excited to open it this year, so.
So if you know anybody wants a season pass, they need to show up Saturday, they get a $10. Oh, so if y'all know anybody wants a season pass for the public pool this year, leave there Saturday and get a deal on season pass. If not, then the $10 what they say, if we do it Saturday.
If I might say, and we say this fairly often, but probably not often enough, that Mr. Sally and his staff do a heck of a job getting these things done. They do, and save the county thousands of dollars on a lot of projects. And so they worked especially hard on getting this pool open and getting it looking great this summer. With no other further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
This motion is not debatable. All in favor, say aye. What? I'm sorry. You know, I had to walk through there about 2 days ago and they've made surprising progress as far as getting most of the cleanup done. We will still have to have a professional cleaning crew to come in there to get the last dust, but you can see where they swept and cleaned up and progress is being made there.
Do we still think we're gonna be able to go back in June? Or-
That's what they're telling us. Yes, ma'am.
Did we vote on all these Tyler, ordinances? That's everyone. Remember, I had a question. You said we would do the questions before we voted. I just have a question. We
Okay.
voted and everyone, but there is one thing I don't understand. When it said that land is gonna be in the urban services district, does that mean they're in the, what I'm gonna call the city limits, and they will pay city taxes and county taxes?
Yeah, it'd be the urban tax like, yeah.
That was city and county tax. That's all I wanted to know.
My apologies.
That's okay.
He made a motion to approve all of it at one time, so that probably is it.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We'll see you next Thursday.